Praise and production.
Resuming.
Gotcha.
Part 2 with the homie. Gumbolaya podcast. Ramblin. I probably shouldn't clap my hands. Can y'all hear me when I do this? Probably not. We're continuing with my friend, no government, Kenny Ray. I know him as Kenny Ray. Chef Kenny Ray. Kenneth.
It's all good.
Kenneth.
It's all good.
I didn't know what your name meant until you explained it. I thought it was just call me. Because call me.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But you were like K Hall. I was like, oh, K Hall point me.
Yeah.
It was very thought provoking. So you went into it a bit in the first segment, but that was going to be one of the questions I wanted to ask. I don't know exactly how to ask, so I'm going to just bleh, and hopefully it comes out right. But after going through what you know to be my most recent and most devastating life trauma, right? Understanding what that does to a person is very present because I'm still struggling with a lot of aspects of how life is just different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have been through so many traumas that it amazes me when I talk to you and you often would just casually share very, very serious things. And when we're not talking about that, I don't feel like I'm talking to somebody who's been beat down by life. So the question is, I'm serious.
I appreciate that.
I'm serious. I'm not gassing you up. Like that's something I admire about you. And I wanted to ask if you can think of any perspective or concept that you hold to that is the consistent thread that has helped you maintain a loving heart, a jovial spirit, a positive outlook, the courage to continue trying. Like, cause you've been through many hells, not just hell. I've had some stuff.
Yeah.
You've been through stuffs, plurals, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I know we have the common thread about, surrendering to God and I know that. And if that's the case, then we can talk about that. But is there anything in particular that's been a through line for you that you feel like has been like the anchor that's kind of kept you from completely sinking? And I know you had your times, but what do you think? Does the question even make sense?
Makes perfect sense. For me to say it transparently now, with the tethering between my prior salvation and pre-salvation and post-salvation, it would have to be my what's the not arrogant way of saying it? I refuse to quit. I don't give quitting the privilege of victory.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I refuse to give in. And I had to figure out that wasn't me. That was God's love for and in me.
Mm-hmm.
So before salvation, I was just like, no, hell no.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to win. I had to learn that.
Meaning you were like personifying quitting as a character, like quitting is not going to win.
Yeah, that.
Okay.
The issue wouldn't defeat.
Got it.
Not quitting as a character.
I understand.
Like
the specific matter that you were facing.
Thing, you're not stronger than me. Like, I refuse to show weakness.
Yo, I feel like that's a common thread among the dudes that I can't really think about if it if I see it in females from LA, but I definitely notice that a lot of the dudes I know from LA, that seems to be like, how do I explain it? What you just said, I feel like I hear coming from people from South Central LA, Central LA, and these areas, just the like, seeming to themselves to find weakness is more of an issue than whatever the issue is.
Yeah.
Why do you think that? Because I'm not from here, so like piecing some of this stuff together is a bit fascinating because I don't have experience points to kind of connect to the mentality, but you do. Like, where do you think that comes from people, in LA, from similar communities where you from?
Because I can only speak for the men on that side of the question. We have running we had coming up running narratives of being a mark, a buster, a simp.
I hear it out a lot. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, and that was equated to being weak. So from a an adolescent, you hear your older cousin, oh, you're a buster, and you'd be like, you a buster? Like, no, don't be around me.
Yeah.
I don't want, I don't want that on me.
Yeah.
So you create this ideology and this belief that you have to be this rock, this impenetrable force that's moving through your area, because if you have a chink in your armor, they're going to beat you down.
Yeah.
So you just refuse to be less than. And that was me. Like, I didn't grow up. I chose not to grow up with my peers for whatever reason. I always ran with the older cats. So I sound like I'm 40.
Almost, bro.
Cats,
almost.
Right, I'm almost there. But for speaking for people from the hood, weakness wasn't just a thing. It became your persona.
Okay.
You wasn't just, he can't do that thing, or, that thing scares him. You became that thing. For example, the simple school, there goes Scaredy Cat. And that thing it would manifest, and it would just grow and it would snowball.
Yeah.
And by the time you got to junior high school, the whole hood know you as this moniker of weakness or pathetic.
Yeah.
So from, I remember, like, this is bad, but I remember being, in grade school, first, second grade, like about to stab people with pencils. Like, just, no, we ain't doing that.
Yeah.
That's my toy.
Stabby with the pencils.
You know what I'm saying?
Like right after homework.
No, right after snack. Right before a nap.
With a full belly. Can't.
That's how we were.
Yeah.
And not everybody.
Yeah.
But the people that grew up where I grew up.
Yeah.
It was just like, nah, you're not about to punk me. Like, what are you saying?
Yeah.
So weakness became like a sickness.
Yeah.
And like when I grew up, I always just say, I'm allergic to two things: weakness and broke.
I remember you said.
Like, I'm allergic to being broke. Like, I can't do that. And weakness was a tether to that. So it's just a mentality that we create from youth.
Yeah.
It's not a spoken thing. It's just it's kind of like growing. Like, I use the sea turtle as an example when I was talking to Sydney about something. I was like, those animals, when they're born, they don't have any knowledge of anything other than instinct. They know, crawl out the sand, get your bearings, go to the water.
Yeah.
Nobody taught them that. They just innately are born with that.
Yeah.
LA dudes, we born with survival. When you in the hood, you're not taught to survive. You come out the house, you see what's going on, and you pick a path.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And that's the birth of not surrendering to weakness.
Well, okay. So that makes what you just said makes sense. However, I'm sure there were people you came up with who did succumb to pressures of the path or trauma that they would come up against, and they did not make it through with the same level of optimism and empathy and love that you do. And that's what I was talking about earlier is a bit surreal. Kenn, he and I were talking earlier about, I can't remember if we did it during the first segment or whatever, but we were talking about the fact that knowing you is, I mean, you're one of my best friends, so that's the fun part. But it's a bit surreal to kind of think through your character, because when it's just us talking about whatever, it's the homies. And then all of a sudden you'll share some story and I'm just like, that sounds like I would have lost my mind if I would have went through that.
Yeah.
And you is like, yeah, that happened. And I'm like, but that's the worst. Like, how were you just like, yeah, that happened, and then everybody died? Like,
literally, I'm the only one. I
don't mean to laugh about it, but that's what's crazy to me, is because until you started sharing this stuff with me, I would expect a person's character to be so much more, grimy and negative, and you know what I'm saying? Like, not optimistic at all.
Yeah.
Surviving what sounds often, from like TV and movies and some of the stuff that you've shared and some of the things that the other people have shared. It sounds like, growing up in just chaos.
Yeah.
And so what I meant by my initial question is, what do you think has allowed you to keep a positive perspective even though you didn't quit? Because I get the not quitting part. I get it.
Yeah.
Perseverance, endurance, steadfastness. This ain't going to win. I get that, right? Yeah. That's a survival thing. Yeah. But I also know people that I've worked with, that I've been around, that I've talked to, whose survival instinct was to shell up their heart. And when you talk, all you get is bark. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times they're not barking just as a warning. They're like, I'm about to bite.
Yeah.
So, but that ain't you though. So I'm saying.
I learned at an early age that making noise in the war gets you sniped.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I learned to move in silence, and I learned to manipulate my way through life. So I used the tools that I had. I'm a smooth talker. I'm a finesser.
Dude, you're so intense. Like, that's what you see what I'm saying? Like, just that moment is so intense. That is not Kenny all the time. Like, that's Kenny, that. I don't know anybody else like you. That's what's fascinating to me. Like, I know people on both sides. I know the big, loving, jovial people, right? The love in the heart people, the bear hug, right? And I know the super intense everything. I used to run with Nate. No, not run with him, but I was tight with Nate for a good while, and some of his people, whatever. And some of the dudes was pretty intense. Most of them was good brothers.
Yeah.
But very, very intense. I think I saw Nate laugh like maybe 4 times, and it was some good laughs. But he was very serious a lot. And even when he would joke, it would be like serious jokes.
Yeah.
Like, it would no smile, and it was a joke. And there was a subtle difference, but that's what I'm saying. But you go back and forth between the big ball of love, the big teddy bear, and then that super intense face with the move in silence.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I survive, man. I mean, that's how we cut from my cloth.
Yeah.
That's how we navigate and make it. Because
so it's not a conscious part of your character, or well, you saying it is. It was conscious.
Coming up.
Yeah.
You had to learn how to use your tools.
Yeah.
You know, I honed in and I learned how to master my toolbox.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like these young cats that play Call of Duty and all of that stuff. I be watching, you know, them lives, and these cats be beep, 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 jump off the building, sniping people. They mastered it.
Yeah.
It's just like second nature. They be talking and streaming.
Yeah.
You know, and doing it. And that's how it is with us. And those of us that indoctrinate my walk and my way that I move. You find out the ways to flip that switch as fast as you can.
Yeah.
You know, to transition as fast as you can so that you don't get caught off guard. So that you don't get put in the blender cycle. Yeah. You know, so you can stay aware of everything. So for me, I don't find it as a conscious choice now. Yeah. It's just kind of and like I didn't even you pointed that out. Yeah. That I switched, and I'm like, what are you talking about?
That's because I see it very, very clearly and plainly. Yeah. And I wanted to put it out so that when you watch it, because you often said, he's like, oh, what you talking about?
I don't.
You go see it now because it's on. Now you go see the face go from that to the super serious. Yeah, moving silent, son.
Honestly, when I get to those points of explanation and everything, it becomes like a reconnaissance mission.
Yeah,
like
I get it.
I'm saving myself from myself.
Yeah, yeah.
So I try to calm myself so I don't react. I respond. You know.
So all right. So here's a question, because like where I grew up, like there were areas nearby that we knew were more problematic than my neighborhood, right? And then there were some neighborhoods away, you know, that, you know, if you don't know somebody there, probably not a good idea to go there at night or whatever. And then there was an area a little bit farther away from that, right? Which is where the homie grew up, the homie, you know, that we know that y'all have the similar background, amen. You and her talk about that, right? Yeah, Lord. So I don't want to put nobody business out. But you know, she lived in that area. And from where I grew up, you don't go there, period. Yeah. So that environment, I only know through concept. I only know from, you know, learning how the fake portrayals are on like TV and movies, and then talking to people that actually grew up in a lot of those areas as I grew up. And then I got older and I learned adults from the areas and I moved here. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people from, you know, inner city areas in New York, whatever. And you start to learn the common thread. So here's the question. Like I said, the way I grew up, there were certain houses in the neighborhood that were problematic.
Right.
There was a neighborhood nearby that was a little more problematic. There was a couple of neighborhoods a little bit away. You need to know somebody, don't go at night kind of thing, right? Steps. And then there was the don't go over there ever areas, right? So me coming home was coming into safety. Right. It was the relief, right? It sounds like there was no safety and relief. And so it, like a lot of times when you talk to me and when I hear other people that speak similarly, it sounds like there was never like the moment of exhaling, like I don't need to worry about my safety. I don't need to worry about survival now that I'm in this area or something. Is that an over exaggeration, or was that the case?
It's the case. It's not an over exaggeration, but it's not in context. So for me, context for me, I felt safe when I got in my hood, in my home. Okay. But I didn't feel safe as far as having lights when I would go through the door. having food in the refrigerator, having water.
Wait, what? Say again. So when you were in your area, when you say area, you mean like a couple blocks?
Yeah,
the
like,
city.
Like
okay.
how you said, you got neighborhood.
Yeah.
Neighborhood. I lived in the you need to know somebody neighborhood.
Okay.
I didn't live in the don't go there neighborhood.
Okay.
It was like you come into my neighborhood, you should know somebody walking up that block.
Right.
When the street lights came on, you should be trying to figure out how to get home.
Yeah.
Not necessarily saying that you're gonna get murked or robbed.
Yeah.
But you just don't want to be walking around
right.
because of what comes through there.
Right.
Going to the don't go.
So what did you mean when you said about you didn't feel safe about lights or food in the fridge?
I didn't have security. Like I didn't.
Oh, so you didn't know if the power would be on.
I didn't feel threatened by my environment. I felt threatened by not having normalcy.
Okay. I understand.
So I didn't have a consistent level of normalcy growing up, to where I knew when I came home, I was going to be able to do my homework and watch Power Rangers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Power
or
Rangers.
Whatever. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I didn't have that luxury of knowing that when I got home, I can have after school snack.
Yeah.
So I'm still in the
So was that
snacks.
like your whole childhood was like that, or was there certain times when
it was a constant roller coaster?
Yeah.
I ain't gonna cry, but I got joy in those moments when life was good.
Yeah, food in the fridge. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. Yeah. And we've discussed this so many times about I never had good without the bad. Mm-hmm. Most people can say, yeah, that's life, but I don't mean like what life. I mean literally. Yeah. Today, hey, we about to go to the grocery store, yada yada yada, and then tomorrow the lights is cut off, so all the food gonna spoil.
Right. Yeah.
That was my good with the bad. So it was like, no, let's not go grocery shopping. Let's go, get a pizza. Yeah. Let's do something that where we know we're not about to lose everything again. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So when I when I hear that narrative about or that question about, how was it? Did you feel as if you can be safe and breathe? I couldn't breathe because I didn't know if I needed to go supply and do what I have to do to make sure we can have lights. Yeah. Or to make sure my mama can have gas in the car to get to work.
How early did that start? Because I can hear what you're saying. I'm wondering like when did you
high.
Okay.
Junior high, 7th grade. 7th and 8th grade, I
forget what junior high is. So I had middle school and high school. Yeah. Junior high is
6th to 8th. In California.
Okay, yeah, we call that middle school. I got you. Junior high is 6, 7, and 8. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So 6th grade is when I became affiliated, with Flying Colors.
Got it.
And 7th and 8th grade is when I became associated with making money.
Got it.
And
in 7th and 8th grade?
Yeah. It started with, I was a hustler. So
we don't want to get too specific.
Oh, no.
Because I don't want anybody come knocking on your door.
No, not like that. I would never. I mean,
good.
Remember, I don't put myself out.
Good. And I'm not asking you to.
But to give you the understanding of how my hustle was, I stayed across the street from my school. My bedroom faced my middle school. So you have the main street.
Nice.
Across the street was my middle school. So
you walk across the street to go to school?
Yeah, I was. Wow. Well, if we got time, I'll give you many stories about that. But, I used to sell candy. I would go to Smart and Final.
Okay.
And
when you
say, I'm not gonna put myself out, but just to give you understanding, I had my window. So I cut a box through my window, and I would lift my bedroom glass window up. Because if I didn't want to go to school, I'm like, man, whatever, and I would just hustle. Kids come through.
Oh, snap.
And they would come across the street. And
get some Red Hots.
I'm at the candy store. Now, you can translate that into taking that outside of my house. You don't do anything around the house, but I learned how to hustle. Yeah. You go to Smart and Final, buy a box of Snickers, spend $8 on a box of Snickers, turn it into 20. Yeah. Get to flipping. Then the big homie saying, oh, he know how to manage money. Yeah. Let's see what else he can do. And then, the rest of the story is written.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I started understanding that I needed to help at 7th grade because all my dad did was work.
Yeah.
And we still didn't have enough money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was like, I got tired of saying.
Did somebody say you need to help, or did you take it upon yourself? I need to help.
I took it upon myself because growing up in the house we lived in, the walls were thin. Mm-hmm. So,
okay. You just hear them talking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And hearing the frustration that my father had with my mother helping family with our nothing. Yeah. It's like, you fussing at my mama, pimp. Yeah. Mm-mm. We're not gonna do that.
It's different now that you're grown though, huh?
Right.
Like it's funny you say that because one of the most enlightening aspects of my path is how important but complicated relationships are. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, that's just what we talk about almost all the time because there's just so many necessary dynamics to understand for a fruitful and abundant and joyful life that are all about how you deal with people. Yep. Because without that, like everything else will eventually get down to, and then you're gonna have to deal with somebody. Yeah. So now that I'm grown, I can see both sides of that. Mm-hmm. And I think before a person hits the ability to look at it from both perspectives of a matter, I mean, we're talking about a specific matter there, but just the ability to think about when you're talking to somebody and y'all are at odds, you have your disagreement or whatever, you're debating something or, maybe even arguing or whatever. Mm-hmm. The ability to consciously choose to think about the validity of the other argument. Right. I know people in their 70s now. I mean, they'd be 30. Yeah, they will be 30. Yeah. So they'd be in their 70s by now. Still only able to argue what they think. Be fussing, and maybe, okay. I think the oldest one I can think of is 67. But still, I'm like,
you about there?
My grown self understood that when I was in high school, yo. Yeah. I wasn't good at it and I didn't remember all the time, but the concept of the other perspective, it made sense. So now I'm thinking about your pops and your moms, right? Yeah. Pops breaking his neck, trying to keep the lights on, trying to keep food on the table, right? Yeah. Mom's like, yo, we have enough to help people in my family that need help. Yeah. That's a good thing, right? But. Right. So I don't know. It just
actually,
hearing
we didn't have enough to help. She was just loyal to family.
Well, okay. What would you say is where are we at? You know what? We're gonna cut. Do we talk about having enough to help? That's what we're gonna talk about. Gumbolaya podcast. CA Kenny Ray, my homie, talking about it. Part 3 coming up. Yeah.
If it's my time, then it's my time. Worry about yours, 'cause I got mine. 'Cause I got mine. Worry about yours, 'cause I got mine. 'Cause I got mine. Praise and production.